Little girls, listen closely, 'cause no one told me what you deserve to know. That in this world you are not beholden. You do not owe them your body and your soul. And sometime later, we'll get to that point. The line of I got a right to speak my mind is muttered, pronounced, said, expressed, indicated. And this comes from a song by Christina Aguilera featuring Demi Lovato called Fall in Line. And it hit me because it's an interesting song. I like the instrumentals, I like the vocals. Pretty much the song itself, for what it is, a song, I can enjoy it. But then I started paying attention to the lyrics and I'm like, oh boy, okay. So the line that stood out to me is that little part of I got a right to speak my mind. And then I thought about it and I'm like, in what situation must someone find themselves in to not be able to do just that, which I consider to be one of the most basic things that any human can do, which is just speak. You have the ability to speak. You learn language, you learn how to express yourself, you learn how to write, speak, read. So, what would prompt someone to say that you got a right to do just that? One of the things that you learn how to do very first thing, or amongst the first things, like as soon as you are born into this society. So, of course, my critical thinking just fired up. And I said to myself, I think that line may represent instances in which, say, a woman finds herself in, let's say, a job or something, and then for some reason her thoughts and ideas are challenged, and for whatever reason, it's interpreted as you are being challenged to where you're, in a sense, oppressed because you have to prove who you are. You have to prove that you have the skill and the knowledge to do the job or whatever. And I personally have not found myself in a situation like that, so I'm just trying to really piece stuff together from what this little song triggered. But it it makes me think of that. When I go on social networks, I notice that some people say that. Like, I cannot believe that I'm in this, let's say, rescuer position, because I saw a story about this many months ago, how some lady was rescuing some guy, and then the guy was like, what are you doing here? I was expecting a man to come rescue me. So if I think of that little line in that manner of when a female is present in a field where that's unusual, all of a sudden you are challenged more. I'm like, I don't see anything particularly wrong with that from that sense because it's very unusual that someone like me is in that field, is in that position, is doing that job. And I don't look at it as an obstacle. I don't look at it as my progress being thwarted. I look at it as if you are a public speaker, even if you have the best argument ever, someone out there is going to disagree with you. Someone out there is going to challenge your ideas. Someone out there is going to think differently and they are going to express that in the same manner that you say that you have a right to speak your mind, is the same manner that the other person who is in disagreement with you has a right to speak their mind as to why they don't agree with you, as opposed to being overreactive about that and being like, you're just picking on me because I'm a woman and I have to prove myself and it's already tough for me to be out here, this and that, rawr. And no, look at it as if you are really that confident about what you do individually, prove it. The person who is prepared doesn't fear anything. So I cannot really feel sympathetic for the people who express annoyance over that because I look at it as an opportunity for me to shine, actually. Oh, you want to know what I'm about? You want to know what Xamarin F is about? Here, here I am. You know, this is why I'm here. This is why I got the job. This is why my skills were needed. And honestly, it's very easy this day and age to be offended over everything. And I just got through having a conversation with my mother about how her college was like. I asked her, Mom, when you went to college, did you have courses where you had to do speeches or discourses or just speaking in general, putting yourself out there, and then you were debated, you had your idea shut down, or you had to defend your idea. But did you ever feel offended while someone else did that? And she was like, no, that was one of the best parts of college for me. It helped me build up, it helped me express myself, put my ideas together on the go, be more confident, prepare myself. And no amount of preparing yourself is going to have you anticipate what someone is going to shoot at you, because you just don't know what another brain can come up with. And I said, good, because sometimes I think that I'm a weirdo in this planet and I just do not belong here or something, because I try really, 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 really hard to, like, maybe, I don't know how to phrase this, but you guys will get me, like, sympathize with the victims around here, victims of, I don't know, social attacks. And I sincerely do not see it. So that's why I bring up topics like this, because maybe I'm just a cold person. It doesn't help that I really haven't had any friends or any connections. So I just like to bring this up, and then if I'm in the wrong or if my perception is flawed, you guys feel free to tell me. But that is how I think. That's how that line in that song made me feel. That's what triggered in my brain. So that's why I'm here sharing it. And honestly, having to, again, having to prove expertise to me is not equivalent of oppression. Um, it just means that the people in your group are not used to seeing you. It's unusual to see someone like you in that field, and maybe they have concerns that they have yet to voice because it's just an implied concern, it's not really expressed, and they just want to get to know you better. I think it's a good thing. And really, anytime you speak publicly, and publicly means whether it be in a huge auditorium with a huge audience or something, or pretty much anywhere outside your house, your job, anywhere you go, a meeting, that can be a public setting. It's like in in the privacy of your corporate walls, but it's still public because these people are not part of your home, part of your family. So that's what I mean by speaking publicly. You're out there, you have to be in your best behavior, because otherwise there are consequences for that. Whereas at your house, you can do whatever, and no one is going to hold you accountable for it unless you're severely breaking the law. But anyways, you have to be prepared to be challenged when you go into a public setting. So when I think of that line of I got a right to speak my mind, I'm like, as someone who lives in the Western world, and Christina Aguilera is from the Western world, I'm like, what are you talking about, girl? Unless you have parents that have a different culture, and to the point that they deliberately try to shut you up, then okay, I don't know her background that well. I do know that she had a song way back in the day where she talked about her dad and how he was apparently no good and whatnot. Okay, I can get that. But in general, for you to start your song saying, little girls, I got a message for you, and that is, no one told you that you have a right to speak your mind and this and that. It's like, no, you have that right. You have that ability. It is encouraged around here. Trust me. So I feel like this is one of those songs that's just all about girl power and all that. And again, it's not like I'm trying to devalue what a woman does in society. It's just that I think that we are creating problems that aren't there, and we are really exaggerating, blowing out of proportion the social challenges that we have. And that's why every time I get an opportunity to bring the matter up from a different angle, I do it because I really want to make sure that I'm not turning a blind eye to issues that may actually affect me as a woman myself, you know? But honestly, I just cannot relate. Just because I cannot relate doesn't mean the problem is not there, or at least for someone else. I get it. But because this is coming from such an influential figure, like a celebrity of this kind, it's Christina Aguilera featuring Demi Lovato in the song. So, I will turn an ear to it because I'm like, oh, what do these people have to say? These people trend all the time. They have control over something. And then when I listen to this, it's like, nah. I mean, I'm glad that I listen to music just for the sake of entertainment, but some lyrics can be good. They can be quite helpful and insightful, but other lyrics can be deceiving in a sense. And I guess it's meant to be deceiving because it's music, it's entertainment. It's just someone's medium of expressing themselves. Her reality doesn't have to be mine. But again, because she said, little girls, I got some life saving advice for you, I'm like, ooh, what is that? You know, um, what is this thing that's going to solve all evil, And then when I heard what it was, I'm like, oh, more female empowerment, more than what we already have. Seems misleading to me. Anyways, guys, that's just my opinion. So let me see what you guys are saying in the comments. Unfortunately, I cannot really hang out that long today because I got to bail in a few, but I'll catch up with you. Hello, Jean. You have a well thought out point of view, Sam, so I appreciate it. Eric says, hi, Zamri. Hello. I cannot be here. I need to sleep. I'll watch later. Very important topic. Glad you're talking about it. Thanks a lot. I think anytime someone does not fit the stereotype, their competence or ability will be questioned. And you should think about doing a TED Talk, Sam. What is a TED Talk? I've heard about it, but. And Mr. Man, it's funny that I see you because I was thinking about you. I'm like, what happened to that Spider Man guy? And then I was trying to aggressively scroll to the videos that I have to find a comment of yours to just check up on you, but I totally forgot. Sorry about that. But anyways, yeah, what was I gonna say? I know John said something. Stereotype their competence or ability will be questioned. Exactly. So listen, it shouldn't immediately be like that because it almost feels like it's discriminatory. But I mean, like I said, I think that if you know what you're made of, if you know who you are, if you're confident, that will speak for you. That will save you. That will, how can I say this? Maintain you. That will help you prosper. But only a person who lacks confidence, and not just confidence, but has a really low opinion of themselves is going to struggle with that. Because I personally do not feel like I have to go around explaining myself why I should be entrusted with something, say a job, or then again, the job that I do is like entry level, it's basic, it's just retail. But if I found myself in a situation like that, I'll be glad to speak about that because every time I have interviewed for something, I always say toward the end of my interview, if not my very last question, I say, is there anything else on my qualifications that I can elaborate on? Something like that. And then the person may say, nope. Or the person may say, in your resume, you mentioned that you have a skill with, I don't know, computers. Can you tell me more about it? And then I'll say, yes, when I was in school, I took all of these courses. I made straight A's. And outside of school, I used it for this and that. Da, 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 da. It's pretty much your opportunity to shine. Embrace it, take advantage of it, use it, and don't be defensive about it and go on social media and say, I was attacked because I'm a woman. When will all this oppression stop? Just let the woman have the job. I mean, If you ain't fit for the job, we cannot give you the job. We cannot do that just for the sake of diversity. That's not how humanity progressed. You ever wonder how technological advances have come such a long way in just 100 years? You need to put some thought into that. I don't think people who were constantly offended and sensitive and just, bawling their eyes out over what someone said could accomplish that. Put someone from the 1920s next to someone from like 2018, completely free of tools and whatnot. Who do you think will have an edge? Who do you think knows the environment a little better? We should have an edge because we would have acquired more knowledge about how things work. But at the same time, when it comes to like, how can I phrase this? Uh, Raw knowledge, raw strength, even, I think folks from the 1920s were just far better. Like, these people were going out there without much tools. Like, when it comes to machinery and advances, like, they were really, really, really going pretty much empty handed to do things, and they got stuff done. All right. So I think we need to take a minute to think about that. How did people really advance, and what was their psychology like? Because I honestly cannot imagine, like, my generation and the younger ones who we tend to be complaining too much about certain things that I'm like, we shouldn't be wasting time on that. Like, what were adolescents like and people in their 20s like back in those times? I'm pretty sure that they thought a whole lot different. On a political level, there's a lot of stuff that I was disagreeing with them on, but when it comes to the productivity as a community, as a society, I think they were far better than us. They trusted each other, they went to work, they did what they could, they got their job done, they went home and took care of business, whatever. But I feel like the modern person is very comfortable. And because we have arrived at a time where everything is done and we don't have to put in the work, we take everything for granted. And honestly, I can also imagine a guy from present day next to a guy from the 1920s. I think most guys from the 1920s would be seen as superior on some aspects only because maybe they had better influences, especially when it comes to the paternal role. Um, the incidents of divorce that I'm aware, they weren't that high. Like, a man could count on their father teaching them things. Whereas nowadays we have all these broken homes. It's become normal to just go for a divorce as opposed to try to make things better. And then the children are the ones who suffer the consequences. I know that a lot of my classmates who I still see on Facebook and whatnot, most of them do not have jobs that are really about infrastructure or stuff like that. Most of them, it's artistic stuff, like theater stuff, movie stuff, music stuff. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that realistically, your capacity to deal with the stuff that was happening back then while the country was being built up, your current skills would not have been useful back then. But then again, maybe your opportunities to be an entertainer would have been a little slimmer as well. I'm not sure on that one. I'm just trying to imagine what was happening back then. But yeah, you guys, that's just my opinion. Like always, I don't really check anything. I don't check for any facts. I just try to speculate independently. And then based on what you guys tell me, I may further my knowledge if I need vast improvement. But I just like to try to think for myself, and not let other people's feelings and opinions influence me before putting my thoughts out here. That is the difference between the idea of working for something and the concept of struggling for it. People want to be given things without providing value. Exactly. Exactly. Um, See, that's the thing. It's so easy to take everything for granted because you arrived at a time where it was already there for you, it's available. Like, I did not have to wait for, say, traffic laws to be implemented by the time that cars were made. You know, like when Ford was rolling out its, what's it called, the T something. Anyways, that old ass car. People were getting killed in the roads, pedestrians. They had no concept of traffic flow and, oops, my little vase here wanted to fall. Um, no concept of slowing down the Model T. Yeah, that. Slowing down, being careful when you're backing up, check behind your back, etc., etc. People were getting hurt, people were getting killed, children were getting killed. So it took someone being like, you know what, we created this piece of technology. Now we need to implement stuff to keep us safe. Someone had to think about that. We arrived decades later to where all of that was figured out, all of that was sorted out. So, of course, we do not see the struggle of what went on in the past to for us to have what we have presently. And that's what I don't seriously. And that's why I'm like, I don't take anything for granted. Just yeah, take your time, look back, observe, wonder about the origin of everything. Like, how did we get to where we are now? And one of these nights, I will make a topic about that, like the rapid advances in technology in the past century, because I think it's amazing. And learning about that may also shine some light as to why, in the present, certain attitudes exist and why have we become the generation that's known for complaining? Like, on some stuff, I feel like we are complaining for the right reasons, but I feel like we want more hand-me-downs than what we have already gotten. So, on a political level, of course, I feel like um, there is a lot of injustice when it comes to how wealth is distributed, but that's beside the point. More so, what makes people struggle with their mental well-being so much? Like, why are self-esteems so low? Why are you not confident that you can do something from scratch? Where or when in education, I guess, when did we fail for us to have that mentality of, I'm going to wind my way to getting what I want? See what I mean? I feel like people from 100 years ago, they definitely meant business. They said, "Nah, we're gonna build this place," and they did it. Whereas now, we want for stuff to get built without putting the work in place. See what I mean? That's what I tried to say. So many people want to be given credit without earning and grading a curve. Would you want to be operated on by a doctor who was given a medical degree? Exactly. I definitely would not want to be treated by someone who on that department, self-trained. Like, no, if you earned your degree, it has to be because the degree tells me as a patient that you went to the training and work and everything for you to be qualified for what you're getting ready to do to me. So, yeah, there's no way that I could trust someone without credentials. See what I mean? That's what the word credential means, I think. Like, it gives you credit, it gives you believability. So, anyways, I identify as a brain surgeon. Well, I identify as an astronaut. Anyways, guys, it's been my pleasure to express myself here, but I'm gonna call it a day. I'll have to come back at some point. I'm a little short on time today, but yeah, it was good to put this out there. That's why I like working as a pilot. Either you can pass the final check ride or not. Thanks, Sam. Yes, I like hearing about pilots because it makes me feel a special connection with like my brother and father because they're pilots, and sometimes I wish that I would have gone that route, but my mind is just not technical enough for that. I can handle the conversation of planes and piloting from a psychological perspective, like what makes the chain of events that may lead to the workplace of a cockpit to be challenging or something, or the ways it can be improved on, I can talk your ear off about that. But if you tell me, yeah, let's engineer this plane to make rides better, safer, more comfortable, I can't do it. I fly planes and helicopters, and my father does as well. I think my father's favorite plane is the King Air. My brother's favorite is the Cessna, of course. Everyone likes the Cessna. And then when it comes to helicopters, the Bell 412. Is that a real helicopter? Please tell me that's a real helicopter. I haven't had this conversation with my brother in like 15 years, but I feel like the word Bell was in it. It's like, it looks like the most popular helicopter. That's all I can say. um, but yeah, helicopter aerodynamics, yeah. Yes, that's what I fly. Oh, we need to fly together. I've never ridden a helicopter. I wonder what the experience is like. It's different when you take off like in headed in a direction and then lifting, whereas you lift vertically in a helicopter. I cannot even conceive what that's like. I can imagine it's like being in an elevator, but yeah. But anyways, yeah. I like conversations about planes. It takes me back. Okay, guys, I'm rambling. It was a pleasure. Thanks so much for hanging out. I will see you soon.